All right, all right. I kind of always wanted to talk about this subject because I got tired of it being this litmus test that black men were, especially black male nerds were these ungrateful sons of bitches who didn't appreciate women in their supposed lane, and they didn't appreciate black women who were just like them, and these black nerds were so fake and animated that they try to like people that didn't really like them. And I've always kind of clapped back at these dumbass stereotypes because, for one, black folks will literally hold the whole nerd identity to almost to the fucking grave to a degree. And I kind of get so tired of these little bullshits and these little lame talking points because by the time you're an adult and you're grown, I don't really. Granted, I don't really speak for everyone, but it kind of gets to a point to where it's like I'm not looking for a girl to like anime. I'm not looking for a girl that's into video games. It's Pookie has watched plenty of Dragon Ball Z to where it's really nothing. It's not even really that hard to find girls that watch Dragon Ball Z or anime because a lot of guys are into it. You got a lot of guys are not that hung up over stereotypes and thinking that watching these shows is only for nerds or dweebs. So women are technically just watching the show on a proxy because they're attractive, um, you know guy boyfriend is watching anime or whatever. So they watch it by default. Another thing that I really do hate is that a lot of people always use the Myra Monkhouse character as this realization that black boy nerds were so ungrateful for the women that loved and appreciated them that they deserved to lose in the end because they were so busy chasing a woman that didn't reciprocate the love or whatever. And my rebuttal is always this: Myra Monkhouse was vastly miscasted, and I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me and say that I'm full of shit. And and I'm like, bro, listen to what I gotta say. Myra Monkhouse was vastly miscasted, and if you don't really, because really they just, and I think I don't know if it was intentional or they were just like, this is just a girl that can act and she looks good on camera. But she was vastly miscasted because it created this little notion that there's these fine, and I'm just talking about for the guys, the high school. I like, if you know me, I really don't like talking about high school because as grown adults, we've gone over it. And I would even to say that when it comes to the Family Matters show, other than depicting Steve Urkel as this clumsy, hated black guy, this black nerd who is so hated by women that at most of the times it's so unfucking warranted. Like for example, the geek prom when the sorority girls were getting these dweeby guys they were pretending to like them and it was all for a stupid prank. Like it was some of the shit was just ridiculous. And it just the show was really just made to really brainwash a lot of American children for the black male perspective. It really taught you to hate yourself, and it really taught you that some black kid or some black boy with glasses who is smart, kind, and isn't a bother or to anyone is secretly this piece of shit dude who's obsessive, can't take no for an answer, is clumsy as fuck, and wreaks havoc just naturally. And so response is that to prevent this person from fucking up your life, you need to fuck up his life to prove a point. Another thing, back to the Myra situation, is that Myra isn't real. And you can go to a lot of the educated lames, the black boys who went to high school, and maybe even the black boys that went to the black nerds that went to college. There weren't these women who had the same interest as you and were falling for you. It wasn't happening. Black folks act like, oh my god, one little black girl likes fucking anime, and I'm supposed to do backflips. I'm like, oh, okay, so what? I don't watch anime. What now? And a lot of people just do this stupid shit because, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of black women deep down inside do not like seeing black nerds with attractive women. They don't. And that's why I said that shit was miscast like a motherfucker. A lot of black women do not like seeing attractive black women date educated lames. And you know, and I've had this happen to me many fucking times. Every fucking time. And what black women will do is that black women will talk to the chick and be like, and these can actually literally be their friends, their sisters, cousins, whomever. And they will just tell them some bullshit. And for some dumb reason, they'll actually believe it. And what's crazy is that the bullshit isn't even like lies about them fucking cheating or looking at other women. These females will shame the girl and make it seem like you dating this guy makes you look bad. It makes you look like your type is this lame, ugly dudes, and you don't want to go out like that. And these bitches will literally fall for it. They will fucking fall for it. And it literally doesn't even matter how connected you are with it. It just takes one female to do that. And then they'll drop you like a bad habit. They'll fucking drop you so quick. And I just get so annoyed with it because I saw another Facebook. It was a video, and he was talking about the damages of how Family Matters laid for black male intelligence, and how it literally damaged it only for it to be a reason for black boys to maintain the nasty and negative stereotypes of being, you know, gangsters and athletes, and limiting black boys to only follow those two paths. And then, like, you know, I'm reading through the comments section, and I'm seeing people like, and then he brought up, you know, the love interest, because he was comparing how in, what was it, Dwayne from Different World, he was able to date someone that was on his level intellectually, you know, that matched. Steve, on the other hand, wasn't really given energy to really date, and that's my issue with the fucking with Family Matters. You're comparing college to where you like people, you know, it can be serious. It doesn't have to be. But I'm like, I don't know why people, black people especially, are so mad at Family Matters for the fact that Steve Urkel didn't want to date Myra. And I only known one person that agreed or would say the same thing. And that's Obsidian. Obsidian Radio is the only guy that I know on the YouTube sphere that even any person in general, he's the only one that would agree that for Steve Urkel to be with Myra was just toxic. A lot of people don't even know how annoying Myra was and how dangerous she was. And if she was real, she would probably kill that dude, man. So there was times where Myra pressured Steve into having sex. There was times where Myra, I think she threatened to hit him. I almost wanted to say, and it could be a Mandela effect, but I almost want to believe that Myra pulled a knife on dude. I might be, it might be a Mandela effect. I'm not really sure, but there's just been so many like frustrating things that she has done that is not even really, that's not even good, for a high school relationship. And that's the thing. This is high school. This Family Matters is supposed to be a boy meets girl scenario. He doesn't have to marry the fucking bitch. He doesn't have to marry Myra. He doesn't have to take her seriously. And I felt like there was nothing wrong of Steve having, and technically he had an open relationship. Because while he was entertaining Myra, he was still, trying to put his foot in Flora. Even though he had to do the little dumbass ego machine thing, turn his personality inside out, whatever. He technically was in an open relationship. And I don't find anything wrong with him exercising his options. Not every girl's gonna like you, fine. But it's a high school story. I'm so tired of all these fucking internet guys and people trying to talk shit and be like, well, they're as if they never liked someone that never liked them back, and they did everything in their power to win them over. And I'm sitting back like, this is high school shit. This was me back in the day. We every guy has been through that. Every black nerd has been through this shit. And I'm kind of frustrated. I'm kind of just thinking back, and I'm like, why are black women so pressed about Steve Urkel not wanting to date Myra seriously? And then, like, most of black women aren't even pro-marriage. Most black women have a negative view about black men. They have a negative view about being subservient to black men, listening to black men, being seen with a black man, doing anything with a black man, telling a black man they love them. They have so many fucking complaints. I'm just wondering why. Why were you guys even trying to push for this thing? I'm like, these are like 16. In theory, these are 16-year-olds. And people are like pushing them to like, oh, as if they need to be married on the spot. I'm like, for what? for what? If Steve sees Myra as a sister or someone that like a play cousin or just someone just to entertain for a little bit, that's his motherfucking prerogative. I get so annoyed when people want to dictate and try to shame black nerds into being in this little fuck ass box, and then being told like you only get like this small hand of females because you're not normal, because you don't fit the box, you don't fit the black perspective. So the girl who's a cheerleader, you can't talk to her. I'll even just say college. So the college cheerleader, oh, you can't talk to her. The sorority girl, you can't talk to her. The average girl, you can't talk to her. The attractive girl, you can't talk to her. You can't talk to any girl. And truth be told, I've actually had somebody was telling me this, like, man, for a guy like you should just talk to someone that's retarded. And I looked at this motherfucker, and this nigga really said this shit with a straight face. And it was my half brother too. Because in his dumbass mind, he was like, "Well, they can't say no." I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like for real, shut the fuck up. And and I'm tired of this box, because really, because like I said before, black women do not like seeing educated lames with attractive women. It grinds their gears seeing that shit. And they will literally find some any fucking way to ruin the relationship, to ruin the connection. And that's why you guys need to be fucking passport bros or SYSBM or date white women or whatever. I'm so fucking tired of people constantly telling us that our experiences and the shit that we went through in the dating from high school to now as adults are fucking made up. I'm so fucking tired of that shit. Oh no, you're making it up. No, it's not because of that. It's because you don't have confidence. No, it's because you don't have game. Like really, really, yeah. Go watch the Pineapple show and let me know how many motherfuckers have game. And you will see all these clean cut little light skinned dudes, nice these little cut and dry dudes. With the beard and the fitted cap and all that shit, loose chain and all that, and they be stuttering. They don't even know what to talk about with these chicks. Oh man, how was your day? The last 5 niggas already asked me that stupid question. Pineapple. I'm not trying to hear that shit. And then another thing. A lot of the chicks that might be into the same shit that we're into are usually not attractive. They're not, I'm sorry, they're just not attractive. They're probably overweight. They probably just don't really take care of themselves like that. Or maybe they're just not our fucking type. We don't have to date. People expect us to date them as if like it's so paramount that we need to date. Because really when people do that shit, like I said before, it's because they're signaling and saying that you don't deserve someone of your type. And I'm like, wait a minute. You have black nerds, black educated lames who are trying to be the leaders of society, entering workspaces that the average black person doesn't have access to. They're smart, they're innovative, they're making good money. And then the lazy excuse is that, oh, well, he's just not my type. And then when these dudes are dating white women, all of a sudden you're crying, you're boo-hooing about, oh my God, we lost another black man. I'm like, bitch, really? You know, I you know what's crazy? I looked up, what's her name? Penelope Gates, Bill Gates' daughter. And I remember she had a black boyfriend, and I'm thinking, this is my ignorance. This is my ignorance. I'm thinking this dude is like a little paper boy who is just doing DoorDash or some shit. And this nigga is a fucking AI creator. He's a genius. He's an AI developer. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, this dude knows is building AI, and he's a founder of his own business and shit. And I'm like, you don't even see shit like that on Forbes. You don't see shit like that on Black Enterprise. You don't see that shit in you don't see that shit in any of these so-called black business platforms and publications. You don't see that shit. You don't see that shit anywhere. You don't see that on Jet. You don't see that on Essence. I'm like, wow. I'm like, how the fuck? And what's crazy? This nigga went to Georgia Tech, and I'm like, you in Atlanta, and you got Clark Atlanta. You got Spelman. I'm not gonna say Morehouse because there's no bitches in Morehouse. And then you kind of got these little off PWIs that, and the funny thing is that black people will say that their PWIs are like low key HBCUs. You'll have Kennesaw State. I think and you'll have Georgia State too. You got Georgia State's right there. And I'm like, you got all of these schools. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get on the HBCUs, man. How the fuck did this guy not be on your radar? He's in Atlanta, Chocolate City. You telling me this dude flew by your radar? Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. But the thing is, they see black nerds as these little kids who just play video games all day, that can't dress, live with their mama, just read comic books and are socially inept. I'm like, get to know actual real black nerds who are actually doing something on some grown man shit. Stop entertaining this little white persona, this white presumption of black nerds and black intellectuals are booger eating losers that can't get a girl for shit. I'm so tired of that shit. I'm so tired of it, man. You know, Myra is she's not real. She's not real, and she's not that attractive. And that's the crazy. Let black women tell it. Every black nerd rejected a cute black female nerd because he wanted to date some cheerleader. Like, get the fuck out of here. And people hold on to this shit like the chick was real. Oh, look, Myra like Steve in his corniness. And you black nerds are so fucking shallow. I'm like, how the fuck are we shallow? You the ones who are doing dinner dates and leaving these dudes high and dry. You're not paying the tab. You don't give it up. You don't marry the dudes that respect you. You date thugs and losers. You cry about struggle love. You cry about trauma bonding. You cry about everything. You guys cry about men not being traditional enough. You cry about black men not being in the XYZ position. You cry about every fucking thing. But you call us shallow because we don't date these imaginary women you think is out there. That's what kills me. You know, I'm fucking shallow. And people do this stupid shit to where they'll neglect someone like Donald Glover and deny his experiences and just tell him, oh, you're just making it up. Shut the fuck up. You're just making it up. Maybe you was an asshole. Okay, whatever. Like, I'm so flabbergasted that annoyed that people think Myra is a real person. Like, she's not real. This is not a female that ELs run into a lot. Now, granted, I would say I kind of did meet a Myra post college, but like when they're cute and attractive, when she told me she was a gamer and you know I do believe she was a nerd, but it's like when they're attractive, they will do city girl shit. And it's like Myra would have been easily a fucking city girl once people realize how attractive she was. And that's the thing that kind of annoyed me and kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I watched Family Matters. Is like, okay, why do you guys think that the so-called fantasy world that you created in Family Matters, why would you think that Myra would not be attractive to other dudes? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, okay, she's corny, but Steve Urkel met a girl that was into bugs. And then, I forgot his name. Not Carl Winslow's son, Eddie. Eddie was scratching his fucking ass trying to figure out how the hell is a cute girl is into bug collecting. He couldn't even fathom that shit. I'm like, okay, if he can like a girl that plays with bugs, I don't understand why people couldn't think that this chick was attractive in their own fucking fantasy world. It just didn't make any sense to me. It just didn't. It's like I'm just being honest with you, man. Black people, black women especially, hate seeing you guys with attractive women. And God forbid you guys be passport bros. And that's the sad truth. A lot of these women use you ELs as emotional punching bags and a rejection tool or whatever. I don't really have the word for it. A rejection punching bag, just so they can feel happy about themselves because Tyrone did them wrong. That's why you gotta be careful with these females, man. It's just I'm just so tired of this narrative. And this is not me saying Michelle Thomas was a bad person or that, you know, she was doing something wrong. It's like you guys have to you guys have to separate the real woman from the character she played. And I'm just sorry. The character she played just was not a good person. Because really, the Myra Monkhouse character was really just created to be a repellent and to prove that Steve was obnoxious as hell with the shit and obsessive nature that he had. And Myra was just really a reflection of it. That's why when Steve ran into Myra, he was like, oh God, not her again. And there was just times where like just Steve was just like he really just did not want to put up with her. He just didn't. He was tired of the obsessiveness. He was tired of being forced to commit. And I'm like, if the roles were reversed, which it was when wasn't there like an episode? I remember the most disheartening episode was the Christmas episode, and I think this was like in season 4. This was like I would say it could actually be. It couldn't have been no higher than season 4, and it was an episode where it was an episode where Steve. It was Christmas, and Steve wished. I think it was Christmas Eve, but you get the point. Steve wished that he didn't exist. And he was just a kid. They were just still kids and shit. And he was in a world where he didn't exist. And I forgot what happened. He wished himself back, I think. And then, people were caring about him, and he kind of got his confidence back. But that was the most disheartening episode I ever seen. I haven't seen that in years. I don't really remember it too well, but it was just so disheartening. But the Myra character is just someone that was just meant to be a deterrent and just to kind of give Steve the mirror that he desperately needed to prove that, man, hey, you are obsessive with Laura. Now here's your kind of comedic relief karma of a girl who's obsessed with you, and now you're in the position that Myra was always in. And am I saying that Myra was the best choice for Steve? Of course not. But this is 90s writing, and then I would kind of just say it's 90s writing with Boyhood. In real life, she probably would never have given that dude a chance, and that's 90s writing. Realistically, for a guy like him, yeah, he would have liked that girl. I don't think he would have liked her that long though. I kind of would have give it like 3 years, and then what should have happened was that there should have been like a rotation of girls to where he likes such and such girl for 2 seasons, he likes this girl for 2 seasons, and then like at the very end, last season, they're reminiscing. It's like they do like a picture episode, a picture show. And they're reminiscing about liking Steve and Steve doing all these things, and then Steve accomplishes himself. He's well established. He got this cool job, and then the women are fighting over him. They're trying to prove that he's the best, and then Steve just says, "Fuck it. I've chased you guys long enough. I just want to do me." And then he leaves either empty-handed or with somebody. I don't care, but that's how I kind of wish how Family Matters should have been written. I kind of feel like trying to just chase a girl over for damn nearly like 10 years. That's a little crazy to me. Even when I was a lame guy in middle school to grade school, I think the longest crush that I had was like it was 5 years, but the thing is, it was a soft crush. It wasn't like anything like deep or major. It was just kind of like I liked her, but I liked like three other girls. She wasn't even like a main like. I was just kind of waiting for the moment to where she'll be single or something. But 10 years, all those seasons. That's crazy to me.